Now is Rabbi Pinchas Goldschmidt now has the floor for an impulse statement. Rabbi Goldschmidt had been president of the Conference of European Rabbis since 2011 and has shifted the organization's focus from its post-World War II mission of rebuilding Jewish communities to a forward-looking approach, seeking to inspire Jewish continuity. And under his presidency, the Conference of European Rabbis strongly engaged in interfaith dialogue. Please, you have the floor.
Thank you, President of the National Assembly, Wolfgang Sobotka, for inviting me, for organizing this event. Yושב-Rosh HaKnesset, Amir Ohana, President of the Canadian Parliament, Mr. Greg Fergus, and the President of the National Council of Belgium, Mrs. Stephanie de Hoos. Parliamentarians, rabbis, president of communities, I'm going to try not to repeat what was said, and just to make 3 suggestions. When I came in here, being invited, I was shocked. I saw the title of this conference, Never Again. I was not shocked by seeing the 2 words of never again. I was shocked by seeing the question mark here in Vienna. On the 7th of October, the world, Israel, and the Jews were reminded what can happen and what will happen if the state of Israel does not exist. When for a few hours, the state did not function, the army did not function, the intelligence services did not function, we returned 120 years to Kishinev, to pogrom of Kishinev. And with the 7th of October, we saw the biggest onslaught of anti-Semitism here in Europe since the Shoah. And what is more important, anti-Semitism became political correct again in the mainstream political discourse. Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, it has been said that anti-Semitism is a sign of sickness of society. Anti-Semitism is destabilizing society. And the question we have to ask ourselves, who is interested in destabilizing our society, our way of life, our democracy, and our liberties? We are witnessing 2 wars right now. In Europe, the war of Russia against Ukraine, and to a large extent against Europe. And we have the war of radical Islam, led by Iran, not only against Israel, against Jews all over the world, and also against our way of life. Russia is using anti-Semitism in Europe to destabilize Europe. Why? Because the more the center parties are being destabilized, the less support there is for Ukraine. A few weeks ago, Russian telegram channels had fake statement by the chief rabbi of England, Morris, closing all the mosques in England. And then there was a similar statement about the chief rabbi of Poland, Michael Shudrich, also criticizing Zelensky. And anti-Semitism is being used to divide our society and to strengthen the radical right and the radical left and to destroy the European project. But Russia is not alone, it's together with Iran. Iran is at war not only with Israel, it has instigated some successful, some less successful terror attacks against Jewish objects in Germany, in Bochum. Secret agents have been hired to attack the Jewish community centers in Athens. It is time to put the Iranian Revolutionary Guards on the list of terrorist organizations by the EU. The time has come. I know Germany has supported it, but it has not been done yet. Europe has to recognize that radical Islam is not any less a threat than Russia. In the same way Europe has been spending billions of dollars to protect Europe from Russian onslaught, more has to be spent to protect Europe from radical Islam. There is also another issue. The radicalization of our youth. We have seen lately in Switzerland, in Solingen, in North Rhine-Westphalia, that the ones who attack peaceful citizens, not necessarily Jews, are younger and younger people. There has been much cooperation lately in Europe among security services. However, there is no European registry of walking time bombs of people who have been radicalized. And therefore, when this Austrian young man came and did this terrible murder in Solingen, the German authorities had no idea who this person was and where this person came from. And since Schengen is making Europe into one super country, there has to be more cooperation, and Professor Neumann, who is the one big expert on terrorism, said it's about time to do it. This is our second suggestion. And number three, besides the two wars being waged, there's another war going on, not with weapons, but between countries and the platforms of social media. The question is, who is responsible to control the platforms? Who is responsible for the call on terrorism, for the radicalization happening on social media? I would like to revert to the proposal of my friend, the Foreign Minister of Poland, Radosław Sikorski, who said, it's about time that the algorithms within social media, which are radicalizing a large part of our society, should be put under control of the governments, because this is one of the biggest threats to our society. And I would like to close just with one final thought. We are in Europe. Europe is recognizing the problem. I would like to commend the European community and the Commission of creating and fighting anti-Semitism. We have here Katharina von Schnurbein. However, at the election speech of the new president, new old president of the European Union, Ursula von der Leyen, she failed to mention any word, not even one word, about anti-Semitism. I don't think it's not because she didn't care. I don't think because she didn't think it was important. I just thought she thought this is not going to gather any more votes. It is only thanks to people like you, President Wolfgang Sobotka, and others, that we can change things in the European Union, where public elected officials will not be afraid to speak up against anti-Semitism and to keep our way of life, our democracy and freedom in Europe. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President, for your statement.